are convening for an international carbon taxation regime to fight climate change globally in the Nairobi Declaration.
And African leaders are also calling for decarbonization and multilateral finance architecture to combat climate change. And as Sheila Chelengat reports, the inaugural African Climate Summit came to an end today, with the leaders led by President William Ruto calling on the international community to fulfill its obligations and support Africa in addressing climate change.
This was the culmination of the three-day first-ever Africa Climate Summit, a Nairobi Declaration, which forms a basis of Africa's position in the COP28 summit to be held later on this year.
There can no longer be any doubt in any part of the world that Africa, humankind's cradle, is also its destiny.
African heads calling on developed nations to address the unfulfilled pledge of $100 billion annually in climate finance, with the declaration now calling on international financing institutions to reform the financing architecture for nations in Africa.
We demand a fair playing ground for our countries to access the investment needed to unlock the potential and translate it into opportunities. We further demand a just multilateral development finance architecture to liberate our economies from odious debt and onerous barriers to necessary financial resources.
African presidents in unison agreeing that Africa has been exposed to hazards due to high emissions of carbon. The leaders calling on high carbon polluters to rally behind the proposal of carbon taxation on fossil fuel.
This position is anchored on the potential that Africa holds to decarbonize the global economy and set the stage for green industrialization throughout the world.
Delegates in the summit insisting on Africa's potential for investment in clean energy, noting the less investment despite Africa having 40% of the world's renewable resources.
We would like to also seek from key stakeholders to invest in youth-led research, innovations for identifying local climate solutions.
The leaders further resolving to focus economic growth on climate-positive growth, including renewable energy and green industrialization. The declaration also proposing that the Africa Climate Summit be a biannual event to set the continent's vision in emerging global climate issues. As the final curtain falls on the African Climate Summit in Nairobi, Kenya, a resounding declaration emerges, one that paints Africa as an integral piece of the puzzle in combating the climate crisis witnessed here in Africa. Sheila Chelengat for TV 47 at the KICC in Nairobi.
Thank you.